Hi, this is Usha. Welcome to Rathod's IAS classes. Today in this lecture, we are going to discuss current affairs of 6th February 2021. In this lecture, we are going to discuss 6 topics which are very much relevant to UPSC. So let's get started with our discussion and let us see first article. So first article title says Beijing warns of US warship in South China Sea. So this article mainly focusing on the South China Sea. So this South China Sea is very important regarding UPSC point of view, and it is also one of favorite section of UPSC. So now let us going to discuss about the South China Sea in great detail. First, we are going to discuss what is context and some important details regarding this article, why the South China Sea is in news now, and also some facts, significance of the South China Sea along with a map. So this article will be important regarding GS2 under international relations, and this topic will be important regarding both prelims and also mains. In prelims you can get some map based questions of this South China Sea, and regarding mains you have to know what is importance, relevance of this South China Sea. So if you see context, it mainly says that China warned of US warship sailing near contested island in South China Sea. So what happened in South China Sea? It contains many islands. So especially there are 3 important islands which are mainly claiming by China. So near these islands, here US warship that is sailing. So because of this, China mainly warned USA regarding this warship which is sailing near contested islands in South China Sea region. And name of that warship is USS John S. McCain. So this warship is mainly sailing near this contested islands of South China Sea. Okay. So that led to broke into China's territorial waters without permission of this Chinese government. So without taking permission of this Chinese government in territorial waters of China, so this USS John S. McCain which is moving there. So because of this, what might be impact? Impact here is it will seriously violate China's sovereignty, and also it will harm regional peace in that area. So these are some important things which are highlighted in this article. Now let us try to talk about some facts regarding the South China Sea. So this South China Sea, it is an arm of Western Pacific Ocean in Southeastern Asia. So if you're talking about where this exactly this South China Sea located, so name itself it is saying it is south to China, right, and east and south to Vietnam. And if you see here, Philippines will be there, so west of Philippines and near islands of Borneo. So here we can see this South China Sea is present. Okay, so this part is very important for prelims, you have to remember that. And if you are talking about bordering states and territories of this South China Sea, they include China, Taiwan, Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei, Singapore and Vietnam. So these will be also important for prelims. Okay, and importance of the South China Sea here is it is mainly connected by Taiwan Strait with East China Sea. So here we have South China Sea and here we have East China Sea, and it is mainly connected to a water channel, so that is called as strait. So that name of strait here is Taiwan Strait. Okay, and it is also connected to Philippine Sea. Here it is also connected to another strait. So here that strait here is Luzon Strait. So we have Taiwan Strait and Luzon Strait. So you have to remember these two straits. So this Taiwan Strait mainly connecting the South China Sea with East China Sea, and South China Sea is connected to Philippines Strait mainly to this Luzon Strait. So these are two important prelims facts. Okay. So if you are talking about the South China Sea, which mainly contains number of shoals, reefs, atolls, islands. So 3 important islands that you should remember here is Parcel Islands, Spratly Islands and Scarborough Shoal Islands. So these are 3 important islands which are claiming by China. So those are mainly present in South China Sea. So why we are focusing on the South China Sea, how it is important and why it is important. So if you are talking about the South China Sea, it is strategically located. Because of this, it is strategically important. It also acts as connecting link between Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean. So when we want to increase our surveillance in this Indo-Pacific region, so we need to increase the surveillance on this South China Sea also. because it acts as mainly connecting link between Indian Ocean and Pacific Ocean. And according to UNCTAD, that is United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, so it came up with a report. It mainly said that about 1/3 of global shipping that passes through this sea. So because of this, it is very, very important for promotion of free trade and navigation in this area. And next one is, according to Department of Environment and Natural Resources of Philippines, it mainly said that about 1/3 of entire world's marine biodiversity which is present in this area. So it mainly contains some lucrative fisheries. So they will provide food security and as well as fishes to Southeast Asian countries. So these are very, very important. And next one is this: South China Sea is believed to have huge oil and also gas reserves beneath its seabed. So because of this, mainly for exploitation of this huge oil and gas resources, China is started increasing their claims in the South China Sea. And whenever we are studying about the South China Sea, one word which comes into news highly, that is 9-dash line. So what is this 9-dash line? So this 9-dash line mainly stretches hundreds of kilometers south and as well as east of China's southerly Hainan Islands. So if you have here, China is present, and here there are 9-dash line that is present. So it covers all strategic parcel and as well as partly island chains here. Okay, so this is about 9-dash line. Now let us see map regarding the South China Sea. So I tried to attach this map of South China Sea, and it will decrease your burden of opening atlas also. Okay, so here we have China, here we have Mongolia, and here Russia, right? So here we have South Korea and North Korea. So these are two present here, right? So here we have Vietnam to east of Vietnam, and here we have Malaysia and Brunei here, and here is Philippines, and here is Thailand. Okay, so this is 9-dash line here. So this is South China Sea region. Okay, so this is 9-dash line. So you have to remember these islands here, that is Parcel Islands, Scarborough Islands, and also Spratly Islands. They are mainly located in this area. And now let us see next article. Title says registered unrecognized parties double in last 10 years. So this article mainly focusing on unrecognized parties. So this article will be important regarding GS paper 2 under polity. So this article will be important from both the prelims and also mains. So how can we expect questions regarding prelims? So this article mainly talking about unrecognized political parties, right? So that means we also have recognized political parties. So we have recognized political parties like national parties and state parties. So how those political parties will be recognized by this Election Commission of India? Whenever they are satisfying some conditions. So in this regard, if for prelims, you have to remember what are conditions that to be satisfied by political party to get recognized as a national party, and what are conditions that to be satisfied by political party to be recognized as a state party. So you have to remember those conditions here, and you have to remember what are distinctions, what are differences between this recognized political party and unrecognized political party, and what are advantages that will be get by political party if it is recognized as a national party or state party by Election Commission of India. So these all are things that you need to refer regarding this article. Okay, and now let us try to understand some important details. So context says that here ADR, that is Association for Democratic Reforms, that is ADR, report mainly analyzes contributions of reports for 2018 to 2019. So if you're talking about report highlights of this ADR, so earlier reports of 2018 to 2019 mainly said that about 78 of total 2,301 registered unrecognized political parties, they are available in public domain. And if you are comparing with 2017 to 2018, it is about 82 political parties. And if you're talking about this 2019, number has increased more than 2 times here. So that increased to 1,112 unrecognized political parties. Okay. So what happened between 2018 to 2019? There is over 9.8% of increase that is seen here. So there is increased spike regarding this registered unrecognized political parties that is seen during this parliamentary elections. So these are some key highlights of this report. And next one is, if you are talking about this Election Commission of India, So about 2,360 political parties, they are registered, and out of them about 97.5% of political parties, they are unrecognized here. So what is meaning of unrecognized political party? So we have to remember these three circumstances here. First one is it might be newly registered political party. Second one is it is not securing enough number of votes to be recognized as state political party or national political party. And if it are already registered with Election Commission of India, but this party not contested in elections. So in these three scenarios, we can say those parties comes under registered unrecognized political parties. So in this context, let us see some facts regarding this recognition of political parties. So who will recognize these political parties? That is Election Commission of India. So we have Election Commission of India. So it mainly registered these political parties mainly for purpose of elections. So this Election Commission of India mainly recognizes these political parties as two types, that is national political party or state political party, mainly based on their performance. They need to fulfill certain conditions, then only they will be recognized as either national political party or state political party by this Election Commission of India here. So if at all any political party recognized as a national or state political party, they will have some benefits here. So this determines their right to certain privileges, like we can say allocation of symbols, and as well as provision of time for political broadcast, mainly by using state owned TVs or televisions or radios, etc. They can go for political broadcast. So these are some important advantages here. So if it are any political party which is not recognized as either state or national, but it is registered political party under Election Commission of India, they can select any symbol of free things. Okay, there are three set of free political symbols are present, so from that it can select any other symbol. Okay, so these are some important things here. And now let us talk about this ADR, that is Association for Democratic Reforms. So you can expect some facts in your prelims regarding this Association for Democratic Reforms also. So now let us discuss those facts also. First important thing is this ADR, it is a non-partisan and it is an NGO. So it is only NGO, but it is not any constitutional body or government body. So it is NGO which works mainly in areas of electoral as well as political reforms. So first important thing that you should remember is it is NGO, mainly works in electoral and also some political reforms. And if you see important aim of this Association for Democratic Reforms, they include it will bring some transparency and also accountability in political process or political reforms or elections. And next one is to reduce influence of money and as well as muscle power in elections. So these are two important aims of this ADR. And next one is it will also helps to become the single data point for information as well as analysis of background information of political parties or candidates who are contesting here regarding criminal cases, financial things, and also other information regarding that political party, and also candidate who is contesting in elections. And if you are talking about areas of interest, there are four important areas of interest of this area. First one is to avoid corruption, to prevent corruption and criminalization of political process. And next one is it also will provide some empowerment to electorate. So how? By providing some information to people, and it will help for better and informed choice to people. And next one is need for greater accountability, and also focuses on need for inner party democracy, transparency in party functioning, party funding, etc. So these are some important areas of interest of this ADR. So these are some facts that you should remember regarding this article. Now let us see next article. Title says Regulatory Code for OTT Content Soon. So this article mainly focusing on this OTT. So now here government said that they are going to come up with some important code that will regulate content of this over the top platforms. For example, we can say Amazon Prime and also Netflix, etc. Right? So this article will be important again regarding polity, which comes under GS paper 2. And this article will be important regarding mains point of view. And in this lecture, we are only going to see what is given in this article. And further, we can expect some articles regarding this OTT platforms that will come in editorials Okay, whenever government come up with this separate code, then we are going to discuss in detail what is this, what is that code talks about, what are this OTT, how, why we have to regulate those, everything we are going to discuss in near future. Okay, don't worry about this. So as of now, you have to remember what we are going to discuss in this lecture. So context says that Information and Broadcasting Minister would soon come up with a regulatory code on content which is provided by Amazon Prime and as well as Netflix. So these are some over the top platforms here. So these platforms, they are full of content which are providing regarding sex, violence, abuse, vulgarity, disrespect to this religious sentiments, etc. So because of all this, what happened, that will leads to increase in polarization in society, and also that may also create some law and order disturbance. So because of this, there is a need to control this type of content which is mainly provided by this OTT platforms. So because of this, government mainly took this decision to come up with one regulatory code. And if you're talking about some details which are given in this article, it mainly says that sources said that government had urged the platforms to come up with the guidelines themselves itself. But if you see some background, what happened in August, what happened here is, there are about 40 OTT platforms, they are operating in India, and government mainly took first step towards regulation and to amend allocation of business rules, etc. That mainly brings all online platforms under mandate of Information and Broadcasting Ministry here. And in this context, all platforms, they are told to register with this ministry. In recently, that is in August, here government came up with these rules here. Now let us see next article. Title says terminal decline. So regarding this article, we also had discussed background. It is mainly talking about East Container Terminal of Colombo Port, which is located in Sri Lanka. So this article will be important regarding GS paper 2 under international relations. So now let us have a detailed discussion on this topic. So this topic is also important regarding prelims and also mains. So regarding prelims, you have to open your atlas and you have to see where are the ports which are present in Sri Lanka. And you may also expect questions like arrange them from north to south or east to west or west to east or south to north. So in this way, you can expect map questions here. So because of this, we are also going to see map once. Okay. Now let us try to discuss this article in great detail. So before that, first let us see maps. So here we have one port of Point Pedro. Here port of Kanasenuttarai, and next one is here port of Trincomalee. Here we have port of Oluville and port of Hambantota. So this port of Hambantota is under control of China. So this Hambantota port under control of China. And next one is here port of Gala is present, and here is port of Colombo. So we have to focus on this port of Colombo. Okay. So this article mainly talked about East Container Terminal of this port of Colombo here. So now let us try to discuss this article in great detail. So this article mainly talking about East Container Terminal of Sri Lanka, which is mainly located in Colombo port here. So I also try to draw whatever map I attached here. So in this way, you have to draw a map in exam. So because of this, it will add some value to your answer and you can get at least half to 1 mark extra. So gaining of half to 1 mark extra, which is very important to clear mains actually, right? So because of that, you need to work on presentation wise. So in presentation wise, you need to add some maps, you need to add some diagrams, you need to add some flow charts. So whenever time is running out, then you can also use flow charts to complete every answer, right? So mainly you have to complete your answers within given time. So this is important task. So you have to use different techniques regarding your presentation. If you are going on writing paragraphs and paragraphs, time will not be sufficient. So because of this, you need to focus on presentation. So in presentation, you can use flow charts, you can use some diagrams, you can use some diagrams like this way, okay, like some flow charts, etc. And also you have to include maps for sure for international relations and also regarding geography. Okay, so you have to include maps for sure. And if you are talking about this Colombo port, so in this Colombo port regarding this eastern terminal, so we came up with tripartite agreement, okay, tripartite agreement between Sri Lanka, India and Japan mainly to develop this eastern terminal here. But now Sri Lanka mainly denying this access of India and Japan to this eastern terminal. So reasons mainly focusing by Sri Lanka here is port union, they are not allowing foreign country to participate here. So one important thing we need to remember here is, if you see here, we have port of Hambantota. So this port of Hambantota, which is given for lease to China for 99 years. So because of this, China's influence which is increasing in Sri Lanka. So because of increase in China's influence in the Sri Lanka, it will also impact on this east container terminal in this Colombo port as well. So whenever India and Japan which are coming to this area and developing this area, so it will counter this presence of China here, right? So because of this, it might be also some influence of China factor that is present behind this regarding this Sri Lanka's decision here, correct? So if you're talking about ruling party which is present in Sri Lanka, for example, Mahinda Rajapaksa and Gotabaya Rajapaksa, mainly they show some, they carry some anti-Indian sentiment, and because of this anti-Indian sentiment, they got win in recent elections here. So also if you're talking about Mahinda Rajapaksa mainly played an important role for elimination of LTTE also. So in this way, there are some anti-Indian sentiments that are prevailing in Sri Lanka now. So if you're talking about another map, I tried to draw this map. So here we have India and here we have Sri Lanka, and we have some islands in this area, right? So if you're talking about increase in China presence, so China's presence which is increasing in the South China Sea, and if you're talking about nearby country Myanmar, in Myanmar also China coming with this China-Myanmar economic corridor, and if you're talking about Pakistan, China and Pakistan, they are all weather friends, and also China coming up with China-Pakistan economic corridor which is passing through this Pak-occupied Kashmir, and it is connecting this Gwadar port here, right? And also China coming up with many projects in Iran also, and also even in other countries which are present in the South China Sea, which is increasing its claim here. So because of this, China mainly want to increase its maritime presence and also continental presence here. Mainly in this context, we can talk about China's aggressive expansionist policy, because it is ongoing military stand-up that is happening in this LAC region. And if you're talking about near Arunachal Pradesh also, it is coming up with many developmental projects. Even in our Hindu analysis, we study about new village that came up by China here, correct? So because of this, what happened, China mainly want to counter India in this Indo-Pacific region. And if you're talking about Sri Lanka, so here in Hambantota also, there is Chinese presence that is increased, correct? And if you're talking about Australia, near Australia, we have some Kiribati Islands. So in this also Chinese presence is increasing. So because of this, now recently we came up with this Quad. So in this Quad, for first time they are mainly talking about how to counter this China, okay? So if you're talking about whenever India and Japan, they are increasing their presence in Sri Lanka, so it will also counter this China, right? So because of this, Chinese influence also present in recent decision of Sri Lanka. So these are some important things that you should remember regarding this. And if you see what is written in this editorial, here Rajapaksa government took decision mainly that is to overturn Sri Lanka's Triparty agreement. So mainly to develop this east container terminal in this Colombo port. So because of this overturning of this agreement, so it is a great setback to India and also Japan here. So if you are talking about this project, worth of this project here is $500 to $700 million. Because of this, it is also important because it is strategically located, and this is also key maker for infra investment. So whenever we are going for investment in infrastructure in other country, so it will have some access, and we have some soft power, right? So because of this, we can also counter this China presence in this Hambantota port. So because of this overturn of this decision, it is a major setback to Japan and India. So if you are talking about significance of this project, about 2/3 of transshipment at this port that will be tied to India here. So because of this project will be very, very important for connectivity and as well as trade link between India and Sri Lanka. So if you are talking about Japan, which has been a key supporter of Sri Lankan growth, and it gave some soft loans about 1.1 trillion yens, and as well as some technical support to cooperation between these two countries. Japan also highly involved in this Sri Lanka. So if you are talking about this Quad mainly increasing presence, okay, mainly we are focusing to counter China regarding this Quad, right? So whenever we are focusing on Quad, whenever this Quad which have some entry into this Sri Lanka, then what happened? Because of this Quad, when have it approach to this Sri Lanka, so it will provide Asia with viable, transparent and as well as sustainable alternative financing and development in this region. So because of this, what happened? Because of this setback to India and Japan, now Delhi and Tokyo, they are reflecting deep disappointment regarding this decision which is taken by Sri Lankan government. So in this context, Sri Lankan government mainly saying that growing pressure from port unions, and they are opposing for any foreign country participation in this port. So it is mainly threatened work to rule agitation that is started in Sri Lanka. So because of this decision taken by Sri Lanka, so this is something which is said by the Sri Lankan government here. So in this way, we have to also think about if there is any influence of China also present in this Eastern Container Terminal. So in this way, we need to also think about this Chinese factor also. So this is gist of this article. Now let us see next article. Title says new questions. So this article mainly talking about ICMR's third phase of serological survey, and it came up with some new insights, and it mainly talking about some concerns regarding this study. So this article will be important regarding health, which comes under GS paper 2. So now let us try to discuss this article in great detail, and I will try my level best to make you understand this topic. So in yesterday's lecture, we studied about what is the serological studies, right? So what is importance of serological studies, significance of studies, we already discussed in our yesterday's lecture. If anyone you have not saw that yesterday's lecture, so please watch that lecture and come back to this topic. So if you see this article mainly focusing on third phase of ICMR, right? So this studies or report of this third phase of this ICMR study mainly says that 1 out of 5 Indians, there are about 270 millions, they have been infected with this coronavirus. Okay, so if you're talking about this third phase of the serological study, mainly also include nurses, doctors and some paramedical staff, etc. And this study mainly found that nearly 25% of significantly above national average had been infected. That means 25% of people, they have been infected with this novel coronavirus. So if you're talking about some details of this study, it mainly says that ICMR mainly emphasized that results to point a significant number here. So it mainly says that one thing mainly highlighting by this ICMR study is only 25% of significantly national average, they have been infected by this coronavirus, and there are about 75% they are left, right? So because of this, we need to go for vaccination, because there are particularly vulnerable people are present. They are most vulnerable to this. So because of lack of immunity or any other comorbidities, then what happened? They will lead to increase in case of death. So because of this, now it is still potential, okay, still potential that these vulnerable will be affected a lot. So because of this, we need to go for vaccination, okay. And next one is we need to continue distancing and as well as using of this mask whenever we are going outside here. But one thing you should remember here is this survey not focused on how long antibodies are present in body and whether they are providing some protection to this mutant virus or not. So these are some important questions that are mainly raised by this article. This is just of this article. I hope it is clear. And now let us see next article. Title says beating down critical journalism, creative freedom. So this article mainly talking about freedom of speech and expression. So this article will be important regarding polity, which comes under GS paper 2. And this topic will be exclusively important for mains point of view. In this 2021 mains, you will see question regarding this freedom of speech and expression in your question paper in GS2 for sure. So please note this topic anywhere, and whenever you are preparing for mains, you have to also refer about this topic. And now let us try to understand this topic in great detail. So if you see about this freedom, so freedom should not be absolute, right? So this freedom of speech and expression which comes under fundamental rights. So these fundamental rights are present in part 3 of our Indian Constitution, and they are not absolute, correct? So there are some reasonable restrictions can be imposed. So this is according to our constitution. Our constitution only provided some reasonable restrictions on this freedom of speech and expression, Because of this, it is not absolute here. So if you are talking about this freedom here, no, it will not violate other freedom. You have to restrict it. So what is meaning of this? So you have given your freedom, right? Our Constitution of India, which provide fundamental right, that is freedom. You can talk what you want, you can wear which dress you want, you can pray to which god you want to pray, and it talks about some expression, you can express your feelings, etc. But when you are talking about whenever this freedom of you, it is violating other freedom, so in that way you have to restrict to yourself. You have no right to violate freedom of others. Okay, so in this way, whenever any freedom of one people, one individual coming and clubbing with freedom of another people, so there should be a demarcation that should be present. Here you have your freedom of expression and speech, and here this person have this freedom of speech and expression, and one freedom of speech and expression that should not violate others freedom of speech and expression here. So because of this, our Constitution came up with this reasonable restrictions and says that these fundamental rights are not absolute. So you will understand why I am saying this. Okay, so if you talk about background of this article, so there are number of web series, number of movies, or number of any things that will comes under digital media, right? So whenever we are talking about any web series or any movies, so those who are coming up with web series or these movies, they are mainly business minded people. So they want profits, they want censorship, they want TRPs, right? So what happened whenever they want to increase their publicity? So whenever they are increasing their publicity, then only people come to know about what this web series is related to, what this film is related to. So whenever they are come to know about this controversial topics, whenever they are showing through this web series or TV serials or movies, then people, they will come to these platforms, and that will leads to increase in subscription of this problem, of those channels, right? So this is first important thing that should remember. And second dimension is when we are talking about freedom. Okay, freedom which is given to every people, and it is also fundamental right under part 3 of our Indian Constitution. Whenever freedom it is affecting any religious sentiment, whether we should allow it or not, whenever any web series or whenever any TV serial which is coming up with any program, whenever that program which is affecting any particular religion, then can we allow it or not? So in this context, Supreme Court or any other court said that, so we should not allow that, because it is mainly affecting religious sentiment. So if you are talking about our Constitution, we need to promote secularism. So in this way, we should not discriminate any religion, we should not affect any other religious sentiments here, right? So in this way, we cannot allow that to be happen. So if you are talking about artist, so even for example TV serial actor mainly come up with this, right? So whenever he is going for acting regarding this Tandav, what happened, that actor mainly said that directors told that I did that. So whether it is correct or not. So if you are talking about artist, whenever he is doing any act, okay, so it is your freedom that you can do any act, but that act should be according to our Constitution. But whenever any act which is done by this artist which is violating Constitution, then it will be not allowed. So this is important gist of this article here. So whenever we are allowing, if at all one artist mainly doing some act and it is against any religion or which is hurting any religious sentiment, then if you are allowing that, next tomorrow another actor will come from different religion and he will discriminate another religion, and day after tomorrow another actor will come, and in this way cases will be increased here. So whenever this type of hurting of religious sentiments that is seen in society, then what will happen? Impact will be seen finally on society. So in society, codes and will be broken. So whatever links are present, and in these links that will be broken here. Here that will lead to polarization. Christians will comes under, they form one group. Here Muslims will come together and they form one group. And Hindus will come and they form one group. So in this way, whenever we are allowing this type of acts which are done by artists, then that will lead to brokening our society. That will lead to whatever coherence, whatever binding things that will be broken. So that will lead to finally impact on society. So because of this, whenever we are talking about freedom, so we can follow our own faith or religious sentiments, right? But we should not ignore or we should not destroy or we should not take away another's freedom of religions here. So because of this, whenever we are taking away or whenever we are destroying any religious sentiments, that will lead to increase in tensions in our society, and also that will lead to finally impact on our society, that will lead to polarization in our society. So because of this, these fundamental rights which are given under this freedom, not only freedom but also all fundamental rights, they are not absolute. Here constitution itself came up with some reasonable restrictions on those right to freedom here. So if you're talking about this editorial mainly says that some important things, so we are also just fastly let us see those also. Okay, so if you're talking about this article 13 of our constitution, it mainly says that whenever center government or state government which is coming up with any law or any act, so whenever it is inconsistent, whenever it is leading to abridging of this fundamental rights or violating fundamental rights, so according to article 30 we can make them null and void. So this is article 13 of our Indian constitution, mainly gives power to judiciary that whenever any law which is came up by center or state that is abridging fundamental rights of people, then that can be made as null and void. And if you are talking about Gujarat High Court judgment in 2012, it mainly upheld this precedent on a matter involving country's largest English language newspaper here, that is Times of India, after sedition charges. Here Commissioner of Police mainly came up with sedition charges in this Times of India newspaper. So in this judgment, Gujarat High Court mainly said that yes, it is correct because it is against freedom of expression, right? So what happened whenever we are providing or we are allowing any person to whenever any person who is mainly affecting sentiments of religious of any society, any community, then it will be against societal norms, right? So that will lead to polarization of society. So this cannot be tolerated. So because of this, even Gujarat High Court in 2012 which upheld sedition charges regarding this Times of India here. And even if you are talking about our constitution mainly protected some strong commentary on measures or acts of government and its agencies, etc. That means government which is coming up with any law or any act here, then people want to change. So these change that should be made based on counter agreements, and these counter agreements they need to be based on facts here, okay, but not based on misinformation. Whenever people want to bring change in that law or in that act based on some facts, then it can be allowed here. So it can be done through lawful means. Okay, in this way, politics of religious offense. For example, recently TV channel came up with this Tandov serial, okay. So in that thing, this case that come into picture here. So if you're talking about politics of religious offense, so it mainly constitute another clear threat mainly to freedom of speech and expression here. So whenever we are talking about hate speech, so regarding this hate speech, even CJI of Supreme Court mainly trying to discourage litigation under Article 32. Article 32 mainly talks about writs, right? So this Article 32 mainly enables any citizen to invoke writ jurisdiction of higher judiciary. That means whenever fundamental rights of citizens they are abridged, then he can directly move to Supreme Court or High Court under this Article 32 of our Indian Constitution. So because of this reason, here B.R. Ambedkar mainly said that this Article 32 which acts as heart and soul of our Constitution. But whenever we are discouraging this Article 32 on based on this hate speech, so it will also decrease the pendency of cases in Supreme Court also. So this is just of this article. Okay, I hope it is clear now. Now let us see mains question. Quad countries need to move beyond counter China strategy. Now if you are talking about these Quad countries, they include India, Japan, USA and Australia. They are mainly focusing on how to counter China. So rather than mainly focusing on how to counter this China strategy, they need to move beyond here such that it will lead to growth and development in region. So you have to explain this statement, and answer should not be more than 150 words. Try to write answer within word limits and try to write map for this. Okay, try to draw map for this. So by this we are concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. So before concluding this, I want to make a small announcement here. We came up with this current affairs package course. So in this course, we are exclusively focusing on current affairs and also mains answer writing practice. So if you ask me what is importance of current affairs, so about 50 to 60% of questions, if you are taking prelims or even mains and even in interview, you can expect questions from current affairs. So because of this, mastering of current affairs is an important to clear UPSC. And without proper answer writing skills, you cannot clear UPSC for sure. So when you started your preparation on day 1 onwards, you need to focus on your answer writing skills. And if you are enrolling to this course, we will be also providing prelims practice questions every week along with video solutions. So this course will be very useful to clear prelims and mains. So finally, I want to say, please don't take this course as a choice. Please try to join this course as soon as possible and achieve your dream of clearing UPSC. Okay. For further details of this course, please contact us. So details are given in description box. Okay. Please don't forget to see these details of this course. So by this we are concluding today. I hope you enjoyed this lecture. Please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like, share and comment my videos. Thank you so much.